Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is Cambridge Physics 5054 course, and I'm your teacher, Maryam Rafique. Today we're gonna discuss chapter number 17, Static Electricity. Before getting into the core concepts of this chapter, I would like to share some learning outcomes, like what is electricity? What is static electricity? Where do charges come from? Examples, rules, and some uses of static electricity, and the effect of materials on static electricity. Static electricity is an imbalance of electric charges within or on the surface of material. The charge remains until it is able to move away by means of an electric current or any electrical discharge. Static electricity named in contrast with current electricity, which flows through wires or other conductors and transmits energy. Electricity is a form of energy, or you can say that electricity is the flow of electrons. We know that all matter is made up of atoms, and an atom has a center called a nucleus. The nucleus contains positively charged particles called protons and uncharged particles called neutrons. What is static electricity? Static electricity occurs when there is a build-up of electric charge on the surface of a material, and it is called static electricity because the charge don't move. The electricity we use every day involves moving charges. So, static means charge does not move or flow. Now, there are two kinds of charges. And after being rubbed a plastic ruler that can attract paper scraps, we come to know that a ruler carries electric charge and it exerts electric force on paper. This charging method is called charging by friction, and the interaction between static electric charges is called electrostatics. Now, where do charges come from? For that, we should know that if the number of electrons would be equal to the number of protons, then the result will be neutral. And if the number of protons would be greater than the number of protons, then the gaining of electrons will happen and you will have negative charge. And if the electrons is less than in number of protons, then you will lose electrons. That means you will have a positive charge. We can also observe this phenomena that when a balloon rubs a piece of wool, we will observe that the electrons are pulled from the wool to the balloon, and the balloon has more electrons than usual. So the balloon will have negative charges and the wool will have positive charges. Now, this is important to know that rubbing materials does not create electric charges, and it is just transfers of electron from one material to the other. Now, there are some examples of static electricity, and in all these, the common phenomena is friction. For example, rubbing balloon on your hair, walking across carpet, clothes tumbling in dryer. We can also see that combing transfers electrons from the hair to the comb by friction, and resulting in a negative charge on the comb and a positive charge on the hair. Now we have to see that what are the induced charges. The charged and neutral objects not touching are attracted because electrons move in the neutral object, and electrons move toward a positive charged object and away from a negative charged one, and this is called induced charge. Conduction is the phenomena in which the direct transfer of charges will happen. For example, walk across carpet and touch a doorknob is shocking sometimes. Electrons are stripped from the carpet and we gain a negative charge. While when you touch the doorknob, electrons jump onto it and the results electrical discharge. Now there are some rules of static electricity. Objects with like or same charges repel, but objects with unlike charges attract. The second one is charged objects attracts neutral objects. Now, after observing all these examples, a question can arise in our minds, and that is, does friction always create static charge? And the answer is, different materials have different strength of attraction for electrons. And if two objects of the same material are rubbed, no static charge forms. So, equal number of electrons transfer each way. And if two different objects are rubbed, they will have different attraction to the electrons, and the stronger one will take the electrons away from weaker one, and static charges build up. Now there are some uses, or you can say application of static electricity. For example, dust removal, that is also called or known as pollution control, photocopy or xerography, and the most common and important, the car painting. Now the materials are listed below according how well they create static electricity when rubbed with another materials, as well as what charge the material will possesses. So materials that gain a positive electrical charge or tend to give up electrons are dry human skin or leather. They have the greatest tendency to giving up electrons and becoming highly positive in charge. While on the other hand, the glass on your TV screen gets charged and collects dust. Flyaway hair is a good example of having a moderate positive charge. For example, human hair, nylon, and wool. While a surprise that lead would collect as much as static electricity as cat fur, while aluminium and paper gives up some electrons. Now the materials that gain a negative electrical charge are wood, nickel, copper, gold, platinum, and polythene. Now this is a time for assignment, students. State briefly how you would give an electric charge to number 1, a glass rod, number 2, a copper disc attached to the end of a nylon rod, assuming that you have available a charged polythene tile. Thank you and good luck.